Hello, I'm Professor Missy Cummings. I'm a professor of electrical and computer engineering at Duke University, and I want to thank you for having me be here today. And congratulations! I'm so proud of you for this accomplishment. I always wanted to be an Eagle Scout. My brothers got to be Boy Scouts and try to work towards an Eagle Scout, and I didn't. And I understand how hard it is. I went on after high school and after college to become one of the first female fighter pilots for the US military. I flew F-18s for the Navy. And so trust me, first of all, I can understand how good those skills of being an Eagle Scout would be. Survival was not always my best area, so that you've got that going for you. But I also understand how hard it can be to be doing something that other people haven't done, and to also understand what it takes to like dig down deep and to have to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps and force yourself to keep going. And I will tell you that I know that you've worked hard, and your working hard is going to pay off so much in the future, because if you can do this, then there's almost nothing else that you can't do going forward in the future. And even when you're having bad experiences, you have to appreciate that it may not be fun what you're going through when things are tough, but you are going to be a better person from it, and you are going to be stronger, and you're going to go on to great things. And so congratulations, your whole lives are in front of you. This seems like a big deal. It is a big deal, but you're going to go on to bigger deals. I'm 100% sure of it.
Well, Dr. Cummings, thank you so much for joining us. It's such a treat to have you here. And I just want to jump right into it. When you were becoming one of the first female fighter pilots in the Navy, what were some of those challenges that you faced, and how did you work to address those challenges?
Well, there were a lot of different challenges. First was just becoming a good pilot, right? I mean, you know, there's a lot going on. You have to be able to think very quickly and make sure that you can reason through whatever you're seeing on the display and the instruments and what's going on in the world, and make sure that you're doing all that safely. But the other challenge was on the social dimension. You know, I was one of the first female fighter pilots for the United States, and you know, unfortunately the guys weren't really happy about that, and they were very resistant to that kind of change. So I had to prove myself a lot over and over again.
I just wonder what that feeling is like when you know that you're in this multi-million-dollar machine that can, you know, zoom you across across the planet at, what is it, 1,500 miles an hour? What's that feeling like?
I tell people, you know, go on a roller coaster that's going upside down, shaking back and forth, times that by 10. And that's probably what the inside of a cockpit feels like, especially when you're dogfighting. It's very physical, it's very rough, but you are actually shaking and moving so much. My helmet would constantly get cracks in it, and it still has gash marks where your head you would be moving so hard and so fast that your head would bounce off the side of the cockpit. And so you actually had to be in shape. And so I'm sure everybody in the Eagle Scouts could appreciate that. I mean, you're not going to do well in that environment if you aren't, at least in some way, shape, or form, physically fit.
And finally, Dr. Cummings, you know, as you know, we're here today to celebrate this inaugural class of female Eagle Scouts, these barrier-breaking young women who have reached the pinnacle of scouting. And I'd love your, you know, final thoughts on how they can continue that momentum into their futures, which are certain to be bright.
I tell people it's really sad. You know, I was a Southern girl, you know, learned to cook before I could walk practically. And it took me learning to land airplanes on aircraft carriers by myself to have any real self-confidence. And I think that you've got to understand, you know, put yourself in situations that might be uncomfortable, push yourself, because the long-term benefit is that you're going to have confidence. And even when you fail, I still fail. I still fail all the time. So self-confidence, self-reliance, and curiosity. I think those are the secrets of success.
That's great advice. And you've been really an inspiration to all of us. And I want to thank you so much for joining us today and sharing just some of your story. And again, thank you to your service, for your service to our country, and for being here today. Dr. Cummings, this has been a real treat.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.